Three, two, one.
Greetings.
Greetings. Welcome to Film Gazers, a podcast focusing on the science fiction, horror, fantasy trinity, and 20th century entertainment. I'm Steph.
I'm Jess. We're cousins slash besties. Join us as we reminisce, discuss, and review films from our childhood.
Meowdy.
Meowdy.
It is officially Leo season.
It's Leo season.
And early happy birthday to you.
Thank you. It's on the 7th. I was trying to think of
So
what
it's
day of
coming
the week
up.
that is. It's next Wednesday.
It's coming up. It's coming up real soon.
And it's a big one for me.
It is. I was gonna say, do you want to let the world know it's the big?
I think I've been saying it every year.
I know. It's the big 40.
I'm turning 20 twice.
Yep, there you go.
I'm
There you go.
officially an elder millennial now.
Yeah. They call them what, Zennials, I think.
The older side of the millennial.
Yeah. I mean, I'm only 3 years younger than you. So I feel like though I'm peak millennial, maybe just because I did turn a teenager like at the millennium.
Right.
So I feel like I really did kind of come of age during the new world.
During the new world, I turned 16 in the year 2000. That was a good year.
And that's a pretty exciting time because you were kind of starting your middle to early adulthood. Yeah, getting into that. And I was like navigating sixth grade.
I just remember we always had different spring break times because we were in different counties.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So I would like take you to school during your spring break. I would still come over and spend the night with you.
Oh yeah. It was
even though
awesome.
You had school the next day. And then I'd drop you off because I was 16 and I could drive you.
And then you'd pick me up and you'd be blasting like Kitty or something like that from your little Honda Civic.
And then when I drop
and
you
everyone's
off,
like, oh my God.
But in the morning, I'd be like, honk, honk. I love you. Bye. Have a good day.
Oh, it's so funny. What a difference like 3 years makes, like when you're at that age. And now there's not that much difference between us, like now it's nothing.
Right. But back then, like,
yeah, like what
it's so funny for me because I'm in high school taking you to middle school. I just think that's so funny.
I know. I was very mature for my age. It's fine.
And I didn't
it wasn't that you were immature.
Anybody else.
Yeah. So happy Leo season.
Yes. Circling back.
Circling back. Well, I'm glad that I'm your better half.
Yes, you are my better half.
And I think Leo and Virgo, come on. I mean, I think that's opposites. So, I mean, it's we complement each other that way.
It's a dynamic duo.
It is. Dynamite. I used to watch a lot of Good Times when I was in high school.
I know. And you went to school in the 2000s, which is funny.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. I graduated in 2005. So yeah, I was watching Good Times in 2005. And that was already but I mean, that's really not that weird because it's like high school kids now watching 90s shows.
Exactly.
That's how old we are.
I know. We're officially our parents now.
That's insane. Anyway. Yeah, so August, Leo season. We're doing Today with the Beach. You'll also get a little Man in the Iron Mask action. Big shout out to all of our listeners, old OGs and new, because we have had a very large uptick in downloads, actually. Real funny. It was kind of peaking at the end of last year, and then the new year kind of hit, and it kind of went back down to like what it was averagely before. So I was like, okay, cool. We just got a little extra boost for a while. And then we took our summer vacation. And the month that we didn't record anything was the month that was record breaking for
Yeah,
us.
I saw that too, and I was like, was it the blooper reels?
I don't think so.
I was like, everybody keeps coming back to Nick Cage because that's still the #1 episode.
It is. It is. Yeah. Face Off has just blown all others in the water.
I mean,
And
I get it.
I think it is. Yeah. I was like, it's because the movie. Everyone wants to listen. Like, I think I've listened to so many different podcasts who've reviewed Face Off. Like, it is usually, if I see they've done that, that would be, yeah, it would be the first episode I'd watch because you judge if you're going to like that podcast based on what they thought of Face Off.
Right. Because if you didn't like Face Off,
I can't be friends.
Exactly. No, thank you.
And speaking of our dream man, Nick Cage, we are planning also doing a really fun, we're doing a little girly spooky night, and we're gonna go watch Long Legs together.
Yes.
With another friend of ours. We have we have a group chat for it, so we would be able to plan the time and the show times and everything when it came out. And it's called Long Leggies.
I thought that was so funny. I was like, oh,
and
leggies.
I was just, I know, and I was really regretting that I didn't like think of it sooner, but I almost thought about like, what if I got some iron-on transfer paper and did like t-shirts, and it said like Long Leggies, and it had like Nicolas Cage on his head, just on like really long, like torn out, like weird
really
warp, like long legs. Yeah, like a weird little,
I'm seeing like long legs
like
with
Eldritch
the feet coming
like
straight up, or like a natural angle.
Yeah, like something really creepy, like some creepy pasta shit,
Man,
I might just go ahead and do it, and we'll just get them after the fact.
Yeah, we can still do it anyway.
Yeah, I was like, I don't have to get it. Just
I don't have to
wear
it to the premiere.
It's not even the premiere. We waited
it's like on its way out.
We waited 2 weeks, and then our local theater was like, "Nah, we're done. We only got so many screens next." And they're doing the M. Night Shyamalan film in place of Long Leggies. Yeah. So
which one is that again?
We gotta drive all the way. Oh, Trapped. The one with our boy Josh Hartnett.
Oh, that's right. That's right. I did read something about that. Yeah, yeah.
I know. I might have to go see it.
I know.
Seen a lot of M. Night movies. Andrew, I think Andrew said he wants to go see it. So him and I were going to maybe plan a day. But anyway, yeah. So Jess and I decided we'll probably give you guys, I don't know if we'll do a full length or a mini-sode, but you are going to at least get a mini-sode of the review of Long Legs for sure. And we're looking forward to it. Anyway, what you been watching? What you been doing?
I have been watching, I've taken a break from Monk, watching RuPaul's Drag Race. They snuck in
Classic
2 seasons that I wasn't aware of. And I was like, oh my God, I got 2 seasons I catch up on. I was so excited. So I've already finished one season, season 15, and now I'm on season 16.
Okay. I think I might be kind of behind.
And season 15 was good.
Nice.
Yeah.
Might have to pick it up sometime soon.
Some of those seasons are kind of like forgettable. Like there wasn't really anybody stand out, or the standout ones were like annoying to me.
Very true. Very true. Because there's a few that I get always mixed up, and then I'm like, oh yeah, I guess I have seen that one. And I just literally didn't remember.
Right. Because I was like, meh.
Or sometimes they blend together.
Or it blends together with the All-Stars. Sometimes I get those.
Exactly.
Too.
Yes, exactly. It does just start all bleeding together after a while when, especially with All-Stars, because then you're just seeing repeat people, and then I can't remember which one, or
wait, was that from a season?
or the other show,
right? Or a totally different show.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's good. That has been fulfilling me.
Nice. I've also been taking a little bit of a breather still watching a little bit of Monk, but I'm not like finishing full episodes. I'm kind of like watching it in little chunks, like in the different parts of the evenings. Because we watched Dune Part 2 the other night. Very good.
That's a long one.
Yeah, it's a commitment, but loved it. I still have to say I loved the first one more. I know everyone talked a lot of shit about saying like, oh, it looked too big and everything and blah 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 and it's boring. But I was like, that's what I liked the most about it was like the feeling of vastness and like I just feel like they really captured what you would imagine Dune to be, you know? And so part two, for it to be as long as it is, it felt still that they were going too quickly. Like it just kind of went like bam, 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 bam. Like you were so like I was expecting a little more slower pace, obviously, like the first one. And then this one's just kind of like balls to the wall a little bit, which isn't a bad thing necessarily. I wanted to be able to take a little time on some certain aspects of the story that I just enjoy.
You want to savor those parts a little bit.
Yes, exactly.
I want to savor it on my tongue a little bit.
I feel like Dune is something that you savor.
I don't feel like you would go into a movie like Dune expecting a high pace. You know what I mean? Like, I wouldn't think it when you say like, oh, people are saying it's boring. I wouldn't go into it and be like, yeah, this is going to be like a rager.
Yeah,
especially the first one.
Like, I mean, like it is, but it isn't exactly. Yeah, especially the first one. The first one's going to be definitely more set up. You know, yeah, and that's why
though.
So beautiful. And even this one had a lot of moments where it captured again that like kind of said like vastness. And then we did get more of the like the worms, the sandworms or whatever. And that was really badass. So maybe I'll do a mini-sode. I don't know. It was just I really enjoyed them. I don't know. I feel like I'm probably too biased to do
I like them.
To do
the end.
I know, like I liked them at the end. Exactly. I'm like Zendaya is amazing. I'm officially team Zendaya all the way.
I love.
I never was against. Oh yeah, no, he's great. But I just want to point out, I was never against her. I just never had seen her in anything other than the Spider-Man films, which are fine. But like,
you didn't watch Euphoria,
she's not. Then. I did not. No.
Oh man.
Yeah, I that sounds like a really just depressing show that I don't want to watch.
It's very depressing and fucked up.
Yeah, for what everyone else tells me. I'm like, I think I'll pass.
Not gonna feel good after you watch it.
Yeah, I'm trying to get out of like, you know.
Oh no, I understand.
But I say that as also sharing with you that so in place of watching too much TV, I've been doing kind of more podcasts and stuff. But shout out to any fellow crime junkies out there. I love pretty much everything Ashley Flowers and Audio Chuck Productions do. Like they're really just really good in their field and what they do. And then I've also been listening to Old Gods of Appalachia. It is also amazing. Oh yeah, it's so amazing. And I realized I was like, I don't know if I've mentioned it on the podcast that other like podcasts I've been listening to.
Right.
I was like, I should probably talk about that. So yeah, I've been listening to Old Gods for a while now, kind of catching up, and I think I'm finally reaching the start of whatever, maybe this year. The last thing they mentioned, I think, was 2023 when I was, because sometimes I just listen and I don't even look at the synopsises, you know, I just like let it go. And
let it go.
Yeah. So now I'm like, I don't know if I want to catch up because then I'll be having to wait for more of the stories, and they're just so good.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to look into that.
Highly recommend it. Like I feel like Gabriel would really like it too. Like it's, you know, creepy, and they'll have standalone episodes sometimes for like Halloween specials. And the narration, the gentleman who narrates it is amazing, and then they get other like voice actors and stuff later. Like I mean all of it's so
nice. See, that's my style.
It's so good. Yeah, it's like an old school like radio show, you know, a little bit.
Yes, okay, those are my favorite.
Yeah. In this episode, we watched 2000's The Beach. It released February 11th, the year 2000. The year 2000. And it is rated R. Running time 119 minutes. Directed by Danny Boyle. Screenplay by John Hodge. based on the book The Beach by Alex Garland, produced by Andrew McDonald. It was starring Leonardo DiCaprio, Tilda Swinton, Virginie Ledoyen, Guillermo Canet, Patterson Joseph, and Robert Carlyle. Cinematography was Darius Kanji, edited by Masahiro Hirakubo. There we go. My contacts get dry.
Yeah, I know.
I'm sorry. I'm like staring at the screen and
my eyes are blurry.
Okay. My eyes are blurry. Music by Angelo Badalamenti, and the budget was 50 million. So here, box office says 144 million.
Mm-hmm.
But on some other information that I found, it did not say that it made that much at all. Oh. So take that with what you will.
Grain of salt.
So this was actually the first movie that DiCaprio did right after Titanic.
I was not aware of that.
Follow-up. Yep, this was his follow-up to Titanic, and it was 2 years. So he read like over 100 scripts apparently after that time to really like decide on a movie. And he netted a 20 million paycheck for The Beach. So that means if their budget was 50, is that including his paycheck?
I think so.
Like, so his pay was almost like half of the actual movie costs, apparently, if that's correct. Yeah. And because of that really steep paycheck, it prevented him from being the star of American Psycho. Could you imagine him doing it instead of Christian Bale? Yeah, I can't. I think that was exactly. I think that was a perfect. I think it was meant to be like that because Christian Bale obviously nailed that role.
Right. And he was like the right age to play it too. Like he didn't look so baby faced.
Yes, DiCaprio looks very young and
very young.
Also got his first Razzie Award for Worst Actor.
Huh.
For this movie, yeah. Yeah.
That's not the way I remembered it at all.
It also caused a very large rift between Boyle, the director, and his normally go-to leading man, which was Ewan McGregor. So apparently Ewan McGregor thought that he had the role for a big chunk of the time. I guess there was a lot of miscommunication that happened. So Boyle has admitted that he handled it really badly and he did apologize to Ewan later, but they didn't like talk for like 10 years or something.
Wow.
Because they were that, I guess, just mad at each other of how things were handled. But they made up. Everything was fine. But McGregor also admitted that he was a little arrogant around that time too. So yeah, so they just both were basically pissed at each other for a while. And
butt hurt.
Yep. They actually asked DiCaprio to lose 18 pounds.
What?
For this role. Yeah. And so this was a quote, and I'm just like, either way, he was, even when I watched this, I'm like, he's really, like, really thin. Yeah. I feel like, to where it did make him seem very, very boyish.
I was gonna say it made him look even younger.
Yes, exactly. It did. So I guess he had been in like not an accident, I guess. He just had some kind of knee injury. But they were quoted as saying, like, Leo wasn't in the greatest of shape when I first met him. He had gained some unwanted weight. I was like, 18 pounds? Like, obviously not, because he should have, if he would have had 18 pounds on him, he definitely would have looked a little older. Because, yeah, it did feel weird watching him, like, run around Thailand and drinking beer and stuff. Because I'm like, he looks like he's, like, 16.
Yeah. I was like, 19 at the oldest, but...
Yeah, maybe. I feel like he looked older in Titanic.
It's been a while since I've watched that one now, too.
Yeah. But anyway, so that was that fun fact. There was also a capsize of the little small boat that him and Tilda Swinton ride on. And but of course, this is a movie set and everything. And someone was quoted as saying there were at least 4 security boats present. So when everyone else was trying to like get everyone in the new boats, the other boats or whatever, and who's like, DiCaprio remained calm for the near 10 minutes he was in the water and helped to keep crew members calm, saying he was a real gentleman. And I'm like, duh, he did fucking Titanic. Half the movie was his ass sitting in water.
Yeah, he's used to it.
He's like,
by now.
He's like, I could sit in some water, guys. I'm really good
with
at
my eyes closed. As he did in Titanic, because he was dead.
So as I mentioned, a lot of people did not like this movie. It also underperformed with critics. It only has like a 20% on Rotten Tomatoes. And at the time,
really?
Okay. Yeah.
I mean, I don't
pretty low.
Don't go by anything Rotten Tomatoes says anyway.
Yeah, I know. We hate them.
Inaccurate.
So it says inaccurate. It's
inaccurate?
Fuck you. You guys didn't like
Gone in 60 seconds. You can suck my dick.
So at the domestic box office, it made 39 million in the US. And remember, its budget was 50. So I'm guessing that, so I'm guessing the rest of the money that I saw on my other was maybe the combined with the international sales.
Yeah.
But if you would just go by domestic, it looks like it underperformed kind of exponentially. Yeah, like a big one. So the map that is used throughout the film is credited to the book's author, Alex Garland, because he did the map. He made it.
Is it a real island?
And here is no. The island, well, the beach is real, but not exactly how it is in there. They did superimpose an extra mountain because it wasn't like an enclosed beach. So there is like one mountain in there that was like CGI'd to make it look enclosed. And in 1999, the Krabi Provincial Administration Organization and the Ao Nong Tamban Administration Organization and several other environmental groups filed lawsuits against 20th Century Fox and 4 other defendants for alleged damage that the film's production had caused, which was on Maya Beach on Fifile Island, which is what they turned into the whole set. The case was dragged on for a long time, with a court ruling finally happening in 2006, and orders were issued for damages. Basically, they fucked up like a lot of stuff. So in 2018, they had announced that Maya Beach was just going to be closed indefinitely to finally allow it to recover, because not only in 99 and 2000, when they initially did all this stuff, like until 2018, it still was causing problems even until then, because of the movie itself garnering all of the tourism of people wanting to go to the beach.
Right.
So
like you don't want to go see the movie in the theater, but you want to go see the beach in Thailand.
Exactly. And to the point where it was on the brink of like just like total destruction. So
exactly what they were talking about in the movie.
Exactly. Like that's the thing. It literally happened like to the beach. It was so like disheartening to read. Yeah, because they basically wanted the big wide open beach, but they wanted aesthetic. So they bulldozed a large swath of the native trees and all the vegetation that was along the big area where they're like all playing football and all that bullshit. So then they planted a bunch of non-native palm trees just to make it look aesthetic.
Right.
And so they introduced an exotic species to the island. And not only did they do that, but because of all of the digging up and all that bullshit they did. So when the storms that usually come hit the beach, there was no vegetation this time. So they all collapsed immediately and washed out to sea, which then also damaged the fragile coral ecosystem, coral reef that was out there. Like,
Crazy.
it's so fucked up. It's so fucked up. There were even accusations of like filmmakers like bribing the Thai government because they have a National Park Act, which is specifically designed to prevent this sort of thing. But allegedly, Fox had donated about $100,000 to a royal forestry department in Thailand, when usually the normal fee for filming on the island is less than 1% of that.
Wow.
So basically, they feel like they just gave them money to be like, hey, we're going to come here, fuck up this island, and you're going to take this money, and that's what's going to happen. So I don't know if that's actually true. It just seems like that's what the accusation was. Years later, though, the court penalized the film company, as I mentioned. So, you know, who knows, in 2018, like I said, they closed it indefinitely to allow it to recover. So in a shocking twist of fate, the beach really did get ruined because everyone came and ruined it.
It's so sad. Did it ever come back? Like, is it restored now or no?
I don't know. I mean, I guess that was a little while ago now. I hope they still have it closed, honestly.
You said when did they close it?
Like 2018. So
not that long ago.
Yeah, exactly. I feel like it hasn't been enough time to really allow things to to change for the good, you know, keep people out.
I mean, that kind of happened around here because we don't have any sand dunes anymore either.
Not
because right. Somebody bulldozed it, just erosion.
Well, that's exactly how serious erosion can be. Like, yeah, it's serious, you guys.
It's super serious.
Super ethereal. I got most of those notes from an article on eOnline and IMDb. So with that, Jess is going to take it away with the You Googled Summary.
The desire to find something real, to connect with something or someone, is what drives Richard, a young American backpacker who arrives in Thailand with adventures on his mind. Etienne and Francois join him on an adventure to the beach, a mystical paradise. However, this paradise is less than perfect. It doesn't have that aesthetic.
I know, it's aesthetic. When was the last time you watched this one?
It's been way over 10 years. I think it's been like 12 to 15.
Same. I think it's been a very, very long time.
I don't think it was ever streaming on anything.
Not that I recall.
But I used to watch.
So what would be
the shit out of this movie?
Yeah, I was gonna say, what would be your memories of it then?
As you know, I was in love with Leo when I was of age, around that age, 13 to 17 probably. Loved him. I had posters of him in my room. I would run on the treadmill.
I remember.
I got a poster of Leo. So I used to watch, and I used to watch this with my brother a lot. Like him and his friends watched this movie too. So that's why I assumed it was popular.
Because your brother was
my brother and his friends watched it. So obviously.
That's funny.
Obviously it's popular. But my memories are
Yeah,
still way different than the actual movie. It's amazing how that
I
happens.
I was gonna say the same. I remember watching mostly this one with you. But
Hmm.
I do
Of
think
course.
I want to say that I think I maybe owned it at least when I was probably in like high school.
Hmm.
Or it did at least play on something sometimes because I do remember throughout high school still kind of watching it every now and then and be like, oh, I'll watch this. But yeah, my recollection of like the actual plot was some weird like just tidbits, and then I
Hmm.
must have just filled in gaps myself, not remembering because
Right?
I did not remember it was like a whole community where they like built shit.
No, I
No,
knew it was
I
a
thought
community. I remember that.
I did not remember that at all. I just thought it was like him and like those three other people.
Oh, and that's it?
So yeah, yeah. And I was like I said, I was a little younger, so maybe that's why it's so blurry. Because like my recollection of this film was just that it was like like the three of them, maybe like a fourth person. They found that, yeah, they get to the Paradise Island area, but it has the drug farmers on it. And basically,
Right.
I thought the whole movie was them trying to survive the drug farmers.
Oh,
But like
wow.
that's yeah.
You're
So
way
I was
off.
like, oh, I know. Samsonite. I was way off.
Exactly where I was going.
Only real ones know that one. If you know, you know. That's what that line is. All right. So yeah, that's pretty much what I had remembered. You obviously, like you said, remembered more, but still a little hazy on your side too.
It was definitely hazy. A lot of things are different. I totally forgot about Etienne altogether.
Oh, did you?
I
Yeah.
kind of forgot about both of them even going with him. I kind of forgot they were even part of it.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah, I remember him being in the woods. I really thought that he licked frogs and was tripping out there. That's what I remember. I
I
don't remember
mean,
him
he is
eating
kind of
grubs
on top of like just I think he's just losing his mind in general.
just
Is
because he
yeah,
was
how I always
bored, essentially.
it seems like it.
Yeah, I was like, he wasn't even out there that long. Like the guy was like, when he finds him in the shed or whatever in the dark, he was like, "Bro,
Yeah.
you've been out for a couple of weeks sneaking around. It's been out there for a couple of weeks." I'm like,
I think his character is just supposed to be that
he is
weird.
the worst. I was like, so
Anyway, so yeah,
this is what I wrote in my
with that,
notes.
let's just get into it. Yeah,
Okay.
like, let's just get into it.
This is what I wrote in my notes. So basically, this movie is the story of how one white man can fuck up a whole community and ecosystem. That was the plot of the movie.
Yeah, I feel like as soon as the movie opens, they make his character instantly unlikable.
Yeah.
It's very pompous. It's very because he has like a line where it's like, once you leave the country, like your own country or whatever, he's like, oh, it doesn't matter who you were or what was your past. And like, like he has some mysterious past when, like you said, he looks like he's like barely 18.
Yeah.
And it's
It's
like
like
the
traveling
typical,
abroad to
like,
find himself.
I know, typical like rich American kid. Like I felt
Hmm.
like it was like Halden Caulfield, like Catcher in the Rye bullshit. I also hated that book too. Um
I don't think I've ever read. I don't think I've ever actually read it. I remember hearing
We'll
about
be
it all the
glad you
time.
haven't.
Yeah.
I didn't finish it. That went
I
into my did not finish pile.
yeah, I feel like he was very pretentious like that. But he was also
Hmm.
like, I feel like trying to come across as like Hunter S. Thompson, like
Yeah.
narrating journalistic kind of.
I got very like Fight Club vibes a little bit and like that like of that era of film
Yeah,
like
it
in the
was pretty
early
popular.
2000s.
Where they were
Yeah.
like just talking to hear themselves talk.
Yes,
saying a
exactly.
bunch of like pompous
Oh,
bullshit.
never resist the unfamiliar. As he's
Okay.
drinking, as he's drinking snake blood, like,
Yeah.
ooh,
You want to drink
snake blood.
snake blood?
I'm like, you realize what I saw? What was that guy's name? Like Andrew Zimmer, like eats anything, like on Food Network. Please,
Right.
snake blood. Think you're unique.
I know, right?
So basically, this character is extremely unlikable, and he's doing what every other, like I said, rich kid could do around that time, which was backpack through Thailand.
Mm-hmm.
So original.
So
And that's
original.
kind of, that's pretty much, I mean, yeah, for this movie to be not well liked and everything, I think it really did a good job of showing its theme, you know. I
Mm-hmm.
kind of felt like this was like more of like an essay. Uh the way it plays out, you know, like it's very much he's too good, like, you know, he doesn't want to be, oh, all these tourists, and I want to be different and I want to explore.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, everyone feels that way in their lives, you know, like you don't want to go to the one place that everyone's been going, or you do, but like you don't want to do it with all the people there. Hello.
Right. Hello. That's not what's fun.
Hello. Like I get it. So I get that need. But they just do a really good job of just showing, I guess, the contradiction and almost hypocrisy, you know,
Mm-hmm.
of all of it. That's kind of what you need to know, because they set you up with him meeting the actor Carlisle. He was in the Full
Yeah.
Monty, by the way.
Yes,
Yeah.
I know. Of course. That's why I used to
I
love the shit out of that movie as well in high school.
know.
And wasn't he in 28 Days Later too?
Yes, yes, he was. Yes.
Yeah.
I like him a lot. And so he plays the character Daffy. Um already I again, and this is where now watching it again, because I realized when I start just even in the beginning, I'm like, oh, like when he's doing his little narration and it's like just
Uh,
so like almost it's like almost cringe, you
oh
know,
yeah.
and then we go into this scene with him meeting the guy, and and then I'm like, oh, wait. I was like, is this going to be more of, was there like an underlying connection? Like almost like a mystery, you know, something like that. I was like, was there like maybe that kind of underlying plot?
No.
Not really. No. I feel like they set you up for it throughout the film, and then you never get any kind of just anything. You don't get nothing to satiate that itch. Like, because
Yeah.
I really wanted that to be like at least a subplot, you know, like I just want
Something,
to
because
know.
why else bring it
Like,
up? I don't even
well,
understand the whole Daffy thing anyway.
exactly. Like, I get you need a character that is going to get them or get him, you know,
The
specifically to
map,
want to
right.
find the map or the island. And I mean, he meets some bros later who talk about
Yeah.
how it's like, ooh, the next urban, you know, legend and myth that's
And
like
that was
trailing
like the
around that
worst
area.
acting ever.
It was very bad.
Very
Um,
B acting.
but again, though, then why didn't you just do it with guys like that, maybe instead of this Daffy guy? Um,
Right.
and like I said,
Period.
yeah, but never give you any explanation, because you do find out. So, because Daffy almost he talks about this island, and the way he talks about it though sounds like
You don't want to go there, really.
you don't, yeah, like because he's like, oh, I told them, and oh, blah blah blah, and this or that.
Because they just let your
Um,
ass sit outside and rot to death if something's wrong with you.
exactly. And they even talk about them meeting the farmers. So I'm wondering, I'm like, okay, so did Dave after basically I call her the cult leader. But Tilda Swinton does a great job in this
I was
role.
like, her
Um,
huge.
yeah, I mean, she's obviously the strongest actor like in
Oh,
there, but
yeah.
besides Carlisle. Um,
But
at
he
that
didn't
time,
really, I
I know
mean,
no, but
wasn't
he
in
always
a whole
plays like
lot.
that kind of that crazy,
Oh,
like
yeah,
he
yeah.
put effort into the role he did have.
He gave 100% for sure.
He did. He did. Um, so yeah, I would take that as to be more ominous. And not to mention, of course, he finds the guy dead the next day in his hotel room. and he has the map to this island is put on his door. So my question would be, why I would be like, no, I'm not going there. Fuck
I'd be like,
fuck this
rip,
map.
rip.
Yeah. So that
Yeah.
right there, just like red flags all around. Because I'm like,
Yeah,
the
but he's
guy
like a
almost,
19-year-old boy, so.
yeah. And so he, like I said, he tells he does share a map with the bros because he doesn't know. He thinks he's going on some fun adventure. And then he invites the French couple that he meets, Etienne and Francois. And
Only because
he
he wants to
basically
fuck Francois.
exactly. And and this whole subplot is all fucked up too. Because Etienne pays for everything. So
Right.
he like
Does
gets the guy to pay for
everything.
everything. Yeah, does everything, gets it all set up to get to this one island so they can get to the secret island. But here's the thing. Even in the beginning, they say themselves, if they're like, oh, we can't, they won't actually drop us off here because it's a national park
And it's forbidden.
and no people are allowed and it's forbidden.
But
And
not
I'm like,
us.
exactly. Because I'm like,
Not
this isn't like,
for us.
because it's supposed to be a national park, which basically implies that it's like a nature refuge and everything.
Right.
You know, that's if
A
there's like
sanctuary.
a national park, yes, and you're not allowed to go on it, then that means, yeah, it's some kind of sanctuary or it doesn't need humans fucking up.
It doesn't
its
need
ecosystem.
humans, period. Yes.
Period. And
But
so
you know, humans,
already
they're like, well, that doesn't apply to me. I deserve to go anywhere I want.
yeah, I'm special. I'm special. And then they didn't even, and then these dumbasses didn't even make a good plan. All I have to say is the bros later do show up and they at least build their own fucking raft. These
Right.
dumbasses go and swim. He said it was like 2 kilometers. Like, oh, I forgot to look up. I was going to convert it.
I know 5K is like 3 point something miles.
Hang on. I'm going to look it up right now. Oh, it's 1.24 of a mile. That's 1.24 miles. It's a mile and a quarter. Okay, yeah, that's not too bad. Okay, so way less than I thought it was.
Right.
But still, I mean, that's still quite a bit to swim. Swimming is like full body.
Swimming. I mean, yeah. I just feel like you could go on your, like, lay on your back and just kick with your feet, couldn't you?
I mean, probably not if there's like a current.
I've never had to swim that far of a distance before. I'm used to swimming in a pool.
Andrew and I swam a channel that we were not supposed to swim. The Coast Guard got onto us.
Where's this at?
To the island, Crab Island.
Oh.
We were like, and we were dumb. We were 19 and or no, I was 21, so I wasn't that young, but I was like, yeah, 21 or 22 at that point. That was before we started dating, so I was still 21, yeah. And we dumbasses swam a whole channel. Then yeah, you got the current and all that stuff. And I told you about the kayaking PTSD.
Yeah.
And that was like, in like a bay area, which is kind of like what they were swimming from,
True.
Was like, they're, little connected island things.
Right. So there's no telling how choppy or current or whatever can be there.
Exactly. So you'd have to be, so like they had a lot of confidence already for sure. Like rolling up to this island, and I'm just going to swim up there with a fucking little rucksack.
Right. And she left like her photography equipment behind. I'd be like,
well, I guess
I don't want to go anywhere where I can't get my shit back.
Well, I think the original plan obviously was that they were just going to go find it and then probably head back eventually. Yeah.
And I'd be like, we're going to live here now. You know what's funny? When I was younger, I never understood the night photography thing that they were doing. I was like, what even is this? Like, I didn't understand why the lights were like that behind them. I was like, so that's what happens when you take pictures at night. And now I'm like, oh, it's that long exposure thing. Watched it now. I'm like, oh my God, I was so dumb.
You're just like, it looked cool.
It did look cool.
Um, yeah, so they swim to the island and they immediately walk into a grow field. And their
Yes.
first thought is just like with glee and happiness. And I'm like, how stupid and naive do you have to be to walk into someone else's grow field and not even realize that it's a grow field?
No,
Like,
they
how
realized it. I'm like, or did they just think that it grew there like magic? Like marijuana
I,
grows naturally
that's
in
what I
the
don't understand.
wild?
Like, or that no one would even be like, yeah, like guarding it or anything. Because, yeah, they just
Right.
kind of take off, like at first, a little bit. It's only him where he's like, yeah, but then he notices the monkey and the man sleeping. And
Mm-hmm.
then he's like, oh, fuck. And remember, he runs and gets them because they
Right.
were walking right in the middle of the fucking field.
Yeah.
Like, get the fuck out of there. Oh, so they finally arrive to the beach, though. They run away from the drug farmers. You get a little bit of like what's the word I'm looking for? You get kind of like anticipation, little build up, uh like chase,
Mm-hmm.
hide and seek kind of thing.
I didn't see.
Hide and seek is like drug farmer is like, where are you?
Peekaboo.
And Leo's like being all weird in the bushes. He's like, here.
Here I
But
am.
and so
I
eventually
mean,
at
that
this
yes,
point they're
that would be
pretty.
terrifying.
Yeah, and at this point they are pretty rattled. But they decide to keep going. Mainly Leo's character, I think just out of sheer stubbornness at that point. And they just keep following it. And then they get to a giant waterfall. And now they're like, oh my God, was this for Moot? And
Mm-hmm.
the girl has the balls out of all of them. Up until this point, she's been very assertive, very like more take charge. They kind of ignore what she's saying sometimes, and then she like has some witty comeback or this or that. So I liked her character at first. Um, and it just felt like halfway through the movie, with them getting more and more flirty and this and that, they just kind of like 180'd her character a little bit and then took
Mm-hmm.
away everything that kind of made her interesting. And then they just kind of really flattened her out as, okay, well, this is just the girl, the love interest now, and that's it.
Right. Like she no longer has any part to play.
Yeah, I guess. They're like, oh, we don't need any more depth to her. Like
Mm-hmm.
that's it. We're
There's
done.
too many other interesting things happening right now. We got Tilda now.
I, Yeah, yeah, I guess so. But even then, like they go so surface level. Like she's with bugs or
Bugs.
whatever, but
That
that she
guy.
obviously sleeps with all the men when she takes them to the mainland.
Mm-hmm. Which is so
um
gross.
so so the
I
onion
may
starts peeling.
desire.
We start seeing.
She's like, I may desire more sex before breakfast.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know why it grosses me out.
It's because it's so like I said, like culty. Like she's like a cult leader, like
Mm-hmm. Well,
and
that's exactly what it's
immediately.
like.
And he even mentioned something about how it was like, oh, there's no ideology, there was no this, like everything was chill. It's a beach resort for people who don't like beach resorts.
Right.
And it's like,
But there's also no
yeah,
medical.
yeah. And that's when you get the stark reality because they show it at first of the three of them arriving and obviously being told, as they're kind of like, what the fuck, why are people here? We come to find out that the drug farmers and these people are aware of each other. But because of the nature of obviously their business, they can't be having just any of these tourists fucking swimming across to the island
Right.
and doing exactly what they've been doing, which there had been instances of that happening. And this is where I thought, oh, okay, did they kill someone else? And then that's why Daffy left, because he tells them that it was Daffy himself who gave him the map. Which they do disclose that he was one of the founding members or whatever
Right.
of this place. So that's where I'm like, ooh, they're giving us little, breadcrumbs or whatever. But again, nothing ever really comes from it.
Oh, for not.
Other than like when Leo starts losing his mind or whatever the fuck's going on with him.
Yeah. And my
Is it
question
like
is,
more like,
was
I'm like,
he
is it like
on?
cabin fever and dehydration on top of like, was he like taking shit out in the jungle?
That's what I'm wondering. Like when he was eating those little grubs, was that supposed to be like a psychedelic? I couldn't
I don't
tell.
think grubs are psychedelic. I
That's what
think
I
that was just him
thought.
like, I thought it was just him doing like survival. Like, oh, it's protein. Like, I'm gonna eat the grubs now
Right.
because I'm
Well, I mean, that
surviving in the
makes
jungle.
sense. But then it just made
That's
it so much more weird. And it was so different than what I remembered. I just remembered him being out there tripping balls and acting all crazy. I didn't think that he was just going crazy because he was bored and then don't even do the job you're out there for, which is get the map.
I know. Okay,
Still
yeah.
didn't get the
Okay,
fucking
so
map.
before we get too far ahead,
Right.
I will say I do think part of it wasn't just him being bored. I think some of it was at this point we've had a actual shark attack. So
Yes.
they give you a couple of mentions of sharks. So you
Oh,
know, like basically these are like
the,
shark infested waters.
well, and that's
First
all
time,
his fault too.
yes, because that's what I was gonna say. I think it was because he killed the baby shark.
The baby shark, yeah.
Um,
Doot
yeah,
to doot.
baby shark do is dead by the hands of Leo. And it was during a time when I guess they needed, and this is another thing too. So they've been living on this island for 6 years. They do have a little boat. They do go make mainland runs.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but but they haven't really been like roughing it.
No, because
Like
they make
they have,
runs and
but
they
they
get
haven't.
tampons and they get moisturizer and
Yeah, like soap. Like they've made like a little like it looks like potable water system for the most
mm,
part. So they've made conveniences, but basically if it's raining or the water's real turned up and they can't spearfish, then they just don't fucking eat.
I
And oh,
guess.
and they just store a bunch of rice. But then they talk about a garden, but then I understand like, oh, they need protein necessarily or something too. But I don't know. I'm just like, why don't you have some kind of like net systems built? Like you've been here for 6 years.
You
Like
have no
you
better
built
system than spearfishing.
no better system than spearfishing. Obviously, they haven't learned any other ways of survival in terms of like for food. But oh, they can make like a 5-star like Jurassic Park looking fucking community like
Right.
bed thing.
Right. You can use some of that
They're
bamboo
all
and craft it a
carpenters.
net.
That's it. No, no. Like
Well,
I
Bugs
watched
is the
that
only carpenter.
apparently because like I watched that show, I think it was called like Alone
Oh
or I
yeah,
God, I can't
it's
remember. It
called
was one of the
Alone.
survival ones.
It's
Yeah.
Alone.
And the guys, when they make like the netting, one, they make their own fucking nets out of like whatever they can fucking find of fiber,
Mm-hmm.
like fibrous like things. And then they do like the system where they can like put it in there and it's like longer. And I'm like, you have all these palm trees. Like, obviously, you know how to do some woodworking. So you can cut down a tree long enough and make like one of those cool like net systems. So, like, also
Right.
catch the fish. I don't know. I was disappointed in the lack of imagination with with their survival skills
Or lack
because
thereof.
as we mentioned, they've already shown in the beginning, they show at one point where the guy wants to go to a dentist because his tooth is killing him.
Mm-hmm.
And they will not go to the island and take this guy to the dentist.
And you're like, why? You go to the
But
mainland.
yeah, like, and you guys are coming and going on your side of the island. You're not running through the drug farm or anything. The drug
Right.
farmers just told you no one extra can come. They know you as well are going to be making mainland runs. Like it seems like they were aware of that. You're just not bringing new people with you. So for one, that's where it's just like if the guy wants to go to the mainland, just drop him off, like, and be like, okay, well, you never get to come back. Sorry, like
Exactly.
but
Yeah.
like whatever. At least he got his tooth taken care of. But instead, no, they literally jump the guy and like rip his tooth out of his fucking
Against his
head
will.
against his will. And then everyone's joking around, and Leo was like, "Oh, well, if you want to have paradise, you got to suffer a little for it." And she's like, "Yes, yes."
Right.
Fucking
Like,
already,
that's
she's
the
like the
attitude.
witch from Chronicles of Narnia.
Mm-hmm.
It's her fucking Turkish delights up in here. So so they've established that much, like I said, and then he kills that baby shark, and then even the Bugs guy is like, "Oh, well, what about a white shark?" Like, he just hates the guy because he knows Tilda wants to fuck him.
Right.
And then there's that subplot of Etienne and Francois, and then of course Francois ends up like basically cheating on Etienne in a magical night with like
And wants it.
photoplankton with
Yeah,
Leonardo.
phytoplankton. That part was, oh my god, phytoplankton. That was funny.
I
And
felt
then,
like it was across the universe, like got a lot of inspiration from this, maybe.
right. And then the whole like the making out underwater thing, I was like, how are they not dead? That was a long time underwater.
They can hold their breath really
I'm
long.
like, but
Jessica,
are they just like
they
breathing
can
into each other's
swim
mouths?
2 kilometers. They can swim
That's
two
true.
kilometers. They can do anything.
They can do anything.
Anything. So yeah, so you've had all the subplot of all this like romance drama. And then of course you have the, I guess, group dynamics at play. And the drug dealer people, or drug farmers really aren't on the radar for a good little chunk of the movie. And it's more of, yeah, you finally get a big shark attack. And
And
basically
it's a
two of
bad
the
one.
guys get fucked up. Yeah, one guy just dies like almost immediately after with his wounds. And then another one's legs all fucked up. So he's basically like, I cannot get back in the water. Like, he's terrified, like he has PTSD, and he's like basically saying that they need to call for help there.
He wants a doctor to
And
come to the island.
yeah, and they're like, no, that's not going to happen, basically.
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, so you can just stay here and get better, or we can load you into the boat. Like, she was going to take him to get medical care,
And I don't
but
understand.
he
Like, I
refused.
get it, but they could have knocked his ass out and took him anyway.
That's what I'm saying. Why wouldn't
Dropped
you
him
have
off
done
like that.
that?
Yeah.
Uh-huh. It's bringing the vibe down, man. Bringing it down bad. So they go take, yeah, yeah, they go take his ass out in a tent away from them to basically just let him go die.
Because out of sight, out of mind.
Yep. And of course, there's another like narration of him talking about that. And Leo's character gladly partakes in this, as
Mm-hmm.
Francois, by the way. It is Etienne is the
Yes.
only one who's
That
like,
has any
you guys are all
decency.
bastards and monsters. And this is where I was like, Francois is also a piece of
Oh,
shit.
yeah. Yeah, because she was willing to go right along with it. Because then they can get
Mm-hmm.
back to playing volleyball and getting their hands on.
And she can go on
And
trying
I'm
to
like,
fuck
where do these people have
Leo.
sex at? Because they all sleep in the same room.
I don't think they care. These are not those kind of people, Jess.
Ugh, gross.
You're like, ugh. So all of Leo's mistakes come back to haunt him. And the bros that he gave a map to, they can see on the island next door, and you can tell that they're obviously following a map. She sees they have a map. Tilda Swinton does, and she's like, "What the fuck?" So this is why when we're talking about him being crazy in the woods, I think he is going to be crazy, not because it's only been 2 weeks, but also they just left that dude to die. Kind of thing. One dude's already dead. Like, I
I
think
know
he
it.
kind
Yeah,
of
that
has a
was a
little
pretty,
trauma.
yeah, like a little breakdown from the, because that shark attack really took me by surprise. I did not remember how graphic that shark attack was.
It was well done. Yeah, like
Yeah,
the
it
the
looked
gory,
real.
the gory,
Yeah.
yeah, special
So I was like,
effects were
oh,
well done.
fuck.
Yeah,
And
it
they're like,
was
we just want to fish.
it was
the,
a
the
pretty
Swedish
intense.
brothers.
Yeah. And so yeah, I think that was like, it was compounding all of that, really. So I do think he was kind of mentally breaking down, and not necessarily like just on drugs, because he's like, hopping around like, and then he just starts messing with the farmers, but he's like, oh, they're my brother, the protectors of this realm and stuff. And he's just going like, because he's supposed to play a lot of video games. So I guess like, because they refer to it in some of the cinematography and the way they do certain things during the one like runaround scene.
Right.
But then later they don't really do that. He's just like, yeah, rolling all around, like holding their guns while they sleep and like
That
watching
was
them
crazy.
and just being a total weirdo. And then, of course, like you said, the one job. So she had left him out there and was like, you got to wait till these fuckers come back with a map. Get the map from them so the farmers don't. So the farmers will just think these people rolled up.
Right. And send
Without
their
knowing what the
ass
fuck they were
away.
doing.
All he had to do
Exactly.
was meet them on the
Exactly.
beach and be like, these people will fucking kill you. Get the fuck out of here.
Exactly. And that's why I don't know why he wouldn't tell him that to begin with because they do
He saw them there.
run into each
Yeah.
other when he goes to the mainland run. And I'm like, and he gets real mad at him and says, blah, blah, blah. But if anything, I'd be like, dude, I did go. It's filled with like, gun toting, armed, like drug people. Do not go there. Like I almost didn't leave with my life. Like
Right.
scare them, anything. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, of course, these people are vapid morons. So
Like, just chill, just listen to me, okay? Just don't go there.
and yeah, and he's such in his weird little funk that yeah, he thinks I guess I don't know what his plan was though, because it still seems like what he thought he was just gonna let the drug farmers take care of it. But then he never goes and gets the map. It's literally right in front of him.
And he
He
still
could
doesn't
have
grab
grabbed
it.
it out of there. Still doesn't grab it. Still doesn't
Nope.
grab it. And then, of course, the drug farmers find the map. And the drug farmers didn't even actually want to kill anybody. The one guy shot
Jumped the
before
gun.
anything was necessary. Exactly. And so yeah, like I said, it all culminates into he GTFOs, but they're basically like, I know you're from the colony.
Mm-hmm.
And
And I like how it's like he kind of knew because they're like playing with guns.
yeah.
And I was
Yeah,
like,
because it
how'd you know he was playing with your guns while you were sleeping?
exactly. It ends in a big climax of the people celebrating the 6-year anniversary. And Leo's running, and he's basically going back to his OG crew, Etienne and Francois, to tell them what's been happening. Yeah, so they're gonna try to GTFO as well. So of course none of that happens, so they don't get away. The drug farmers have all of them in there saying like, listen, something has to be done. Like you gave a fucking map. I'm just a farmer. Like I don't even want to have to do this. Um Tilda kind of blames it all on Leo, which it is kind of definitely his fault.
Mm-hmm.
And the farmer is so smart. In fact, the smartest one in this whole fucking movie, that he gives her an unloaded gun, but she doesn't realize that. And he's basically like, oh, well, if you kill the guy, problem solved, y'all can all stay here. And then, of course, half of the people here, while they can be okay with leaving a shark attack bite victim out in the woods to die, because that's one thing, but watching her
They have
cold-blooded
standards.
shoot someone in the face, of course that is where they draw the line.
Right.
And she does it, and it wasn't loaded. And that is when the farmer, they just go his face, and he's just like smiling because he knows. And then
Mm-hmm.
everyone like just starts running
He's like, oh, that's all I had to do. Yeah, that was
So
good.
that was the best part of the movie for me, I think, was that part where I was like, you go, man.
I know, but I loved how it ends with him loading that picture up on, because he's left the beach, he's in the internet cafe, and he loads that picture up
Yeah.
that Francois sent him. And he's looking at it
Yes.
like, oh, look at my grand adventure back then. That was such a good time. Like, you murdered a man in his tent. You suffocated him and murdered him. And you're looking at that picture like, oh, wasn't that fun?
I know. And not to mention, we're like, and then you saw 4 other people that you gave a map to, and you
Yeah,
got
gunned
them
down.
murdered.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. And he's just
And he
like, the good
basically got the 3 people
times.
murdered because you killed the shark.
Uh-huh. Exactly. Like a whole fucked up shit is all on his hands. And he's like, oh yeah, those are great times, weren't they?
Yeah.
And I just want to point
Mm-hmm.
out that he was logging into excite.com, which
Yeah,
I
I saw
had
that. Is that a thing?
forgot existed.
Oh, it was a
Yeah, it
real
was
thing?
totally a thing.
Yeah, I
Yeah, it
don't
was.
remember
It was like
that.
a real email.
That's
Yeah.
hilarious.
I thought that was so funny.
And everybody had those
Oh, and then
mats.
never mind the fact too that I never got any other information about the Daffy character. Like again, they gave you a couple of tidbits. I felt like because they would kept showing the knife and him in there, and I'm like, did she go back to the mainland and kill Daffy so Daffy wouldn't tell
Oh,
anybody about the island? Like that
maybe.
was
That
my
would
big
be an
thing. That's what
interesting.
I
I didn't even think
thought.
about that.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking
See,
the
that
whole
would have been a
time. But then they never.
cool way to tie that in, because why else reference him so much?
Yeah, like I feel like they maybe cut something out, and I couldn't really find like a lot of the facts I found were kind of like I said based on the director and Leo, and then more
The
of the
scandal.
environmental stuff. I think I might give the book a shot because I did read a couple of comments on a couple of just actual reviews and stuff, and everyone saying that they enjoyed the book and that the movie wasn't a very good adaptation. So I'm not sure. Maybe that was part of the story more, or I just like a lot of crime stuff, and that just is where my brain automatically
Yeah.
goes.
No, that would have been cool.
So yeah, that was how it ended, and I was kind of like, my mouth was kind of open at the end of this movie because I was like, what the fuck?
I yeah, I was like, what was not the movie I remembered.
No. That was the same thing I said to myself was like, wow, I really didn't remember this movie at all, I guess.
I vaguely remembered him smothering the guy in the tent. Like once I started watching it again, I was like, oh, yeah, I kind of do remember that part. I the shark attack, I really thought the French guy got when they faked out that shark attack in the beginning when they were swimming to the island, which that was
Yes.
weird
And then,
too. They faked a shark
yeah,
attack just to be
I
funny.
know. They're so fun loving.
They're still French.
With
Um,
all the care in the world.
right. Oh, little do you know. I really thought that he did get attacked by a shark then and died. And I was like, oh yeah, so this is where he gets attacked and dies. And I was like, oh, it was fake? Okay. Doesn't he die? Nope, he didn't die.
Right? Yeah, I think I might have maybe that's why again I thought it was only like the three of them really. Like I said, I thought maybe they met like one other person, but when the first guy talks to them when they finally figure out that she jumps off the waterfall and then a guy like claps and it's like, "Oh, it took me a long time to build up that nerve." Then I was like, "Oh my God, there's people." That was my first thought.
Like,
And,
wait a
and
minute.
that's when I realized, oh, I don't remember this movie at all, I guess.
You're like, I got confused with No Escape.
I think so. A little bit. Like I said, I thought there would be a little more like murder intrigue. And I was like,
And
oh,
then Miss
well,
Fowl.
I mean, I'm going with that. Yeah, she went back and killed that guy because that's how obsessed she was keeping
I mean, that would make way more
her
sense than him
special
killing
place.
himself.
Yeah, like, and I feel like it was kind of implied, but not, but like I said, also not really enough to like satisfy
It
a
wasn't
real
enough that I
answer or
even picked
not.
up on that.
Hmm.
I didn't pick up on
Yeah,
that.
like so I thought so. My favorite part was the part that didn't happen that I thought happened.
That sounds about right.
Yeah, or like I said, the farmer scene at the end. What was yours?
Um, I mean, I really like when they first come upon the beach because it's so beautiful.
And they have that Moby song playing.
Yes. Huh. Oh.
Oh.
Because at first I was
Oh.
like, oh, it's like pure mood soundtrack. And I was like, oh my God,
You're
it's
like,
Moby.
wait.
I have the CD. I
I know.
was like, oh shit, I love Moby. Yeah. So
We
that
all
was
did
probably
at
my
one
favorite
time.
part. I know. I mean, I
Yeah.
have to go back and listen to that again. Soothing.
That's funny. Will you watch it again?
I really don't foresee watching it again. Even though I know I bought it, I was like, I might as well buy it. It's only like $1 more. I was like, I'm sure I'll rewatch this one. I'll revisit. And then I watched it and I was like,
Probably not.
Probably not. No, probably not. And I was like, what the fuck was wrong with me as a kid? Why did I think this movie was so cool? I guess just because I was in love with Leo.
And your brother watched it.
I guess that's what it was.
Oh, that's so funny. Yeah, I probably won't ever watch it again. That was enough.
I can say I did.
And then just knowing like the environmental impact it also made,
right.
I was like,
it's pretty disgusting.
I know. And just, yeah, knowing that the movie also, even years later after the fact, like 18 years later, they're like, no, we got to close this beach because it's so well known from this movie and everyone's ruined it.
And y'all fucked it up.
And then also seeing this film made me realize how old I guess I kind of am.
That it was 24 years ago.
Like, yeah, and you're like, oh my God, like, yeah, they went to a beach and it's secret and it's so cool. And then like now I'm, yeah, almost middle-aged woman, and I'm like, how dare they trespass on protected national park land?
Right.
What about the environment? I'm like, the drug farmers are keeping to their one crop and they don't have big giant things. They're living in one little like tree house. I saw it.
Yeah. And it's like
they're being
marijuana.
Respectful.
It's not like they're growing, cocaine.
Cocaine.
You know what I mean. Yeah, know how it's made.
Yeah, you know.
You get it. Like cacao.
So, well, that was the beach. That's all she wrote.
Yeah, that was it. I'm glad I watched it again. I am glad I watched it again though, because I had such fond memories of it, and now I'm like, okay, yeah, I don't anymore.
they can stay fond memories, and
they can say fond farewell.
Oh man. As always, you can find us at Film Gazers on Facebook, on Instagram, on Threads, on X is where you can find a link to join the Discord if you are so inclined. Again, I don't know. We mentioned Discord. I really want to be into it, but then I just like my mind gets blank and I'm like, I don't know, what am I supposed to write in here? There's like 4 of us.
I'm like, does anybody even look at this? Just going out dead air.
I know.
And I'm like, does anybody give a shit what I'm doing? I really don't do a whole lot. I can tell you that.
That's our social medias. And it's time to hit the dusty trail.
Until next time. Later taters.